Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.
Welcome back. Now it's time to get to the top 8 international news stories that made it this week. So let's waste no time. Let's get to it. Story number 1. The blame game and pointing the finger is in full effect all over the world, and mainly in the United States. New blame games are emerging, according to a report that the media, and they're pointing the blame at the media, and there's some fingers pointing to the president and China. Analysts and debaters will be eating these stories up in the upcoming weeks because even at the climax of this coronavirus saga, everybody wants answers as we work our way down to the resolution. The point is that somebody is at fault for the spread of this disease, and people are trying to find out, is it an act of nature or is it just an act of China's negligence or them just not having good habits? So with all this chaos and commotion, some people are starting to want answers, and they're pointing the finger. Another headline: Trump calls a reporter a third-rated reporter. This is a report that was surfacing. He called a reporter a third-rated reporter inside of a meeting after being asked a question about the federal government's preparedness for the coronavirus outbreaks. So this president has been known not to hide or hold in his frustration, and it seems to come out all the time at press conferences. I guess what is happening is we're starting to see two fingers being pointed everywhere, where the president and his administration blames the media, and the media just trying to get answers, and then the Trump administrations and his supporters blame the media. So you can see a lot of finger pointing going on inside of story number 1, and it really, really distracts what is really happening, and that's why story number 1 made it to the top 8, because as long as this continues to go on, there will be a lot of frustration and a lot of people taking sides when really there's some serious things happening on the ground, and people want the truth, and that's what you're seeing in story number 1. An author named Michael Lewis is adding some fuel to the fire. He's another face that he's pointing the finger at President Trump and all this pointing extravaganza. He goes into detail in his work, blaming the Trump administration for all of the sequence of events that we've been seeing. So you can see why story number 1 is conjuring up and really, really adding a lot, especially since we're in election season. Reports of a heated exchange in the Situation Room over hydroxychloroquine. Now, if you don't know what that is, that's been a drug that they have been touted, that has been they've been soliciting, that could possibly treat coronavirus and possibly cured. So you'll see a lot of talk like this. The Trump administration has put this out there publicly, and it's not really the president's job to make healthcare decisions, but he has said this, and there's been a lot of bashing, pointing the finger all over the place inside of this story. So you can see the animosity and all of the sides that have been taking. It's all heating up, and it all leads up to one big date, and that's even with all this coronavirus and people losing their life, people getting cured, people getting diagnosed, nurses not having the proper equipment. This is all leading up to November election. A Democratic lawmaker wants President Trump prosecuted for crimes against humanity in a report by Fox News. Another report: Pence looks to blame the CDC and China for delay in U.S. coronavirus response, according to a report by CNN. The report emphasizes no blame on Trump, so Pence is blaming nothing on Trump, but he's pointing the finger at the CDC and China. And you can see even with the Democratic lawmakers, this is all creating a big hostile environment in Washington between the media, the public, and just innocent citizens who really just want answers and want a return on their tax dollars. A poll by USA Today says that 6 in 10 voters think Trump was not prepared for this outbreak. Big story. Look at that story number 1 to hang around. It made it to the top 8 this week for a reason, and you can see why it made it to the top 8. All the details are in this story on why things are in such a big chaos. Everybody's pointing the finger. Nobody wants to man up and take a loss here and admit that they did something wrong. This is a big story. Story number one, China is even in the mix. All of the other countries that have been affected by this coronavirus disease. This is becoming a big problem for economies. Story number one could become a bigger story as it develops in the upcoming weeks. Story number two, the justice system is silently being hit by the coronavirus. This is another big story that you may want to keep an eye on. Just look at it and all the details and see what it really is. They're saying that some inmates either want to file a lawsuit or they want out due to the coronavirus, the spreading of this disease inside of the prison system. Now, I've met with a few people. I've met with a person a few years back. Actually, it's been a few over the course of my little career here at Methane and doing the Mediator. I've met with a lot of people who have, I'd say probably about a handful of people who've been inside the prison system. And they seem to have a problem with the fact that they do time and then when they get out, they're still not able to live peacefully. And now that it's happening inside when they're having to do time inside the justice system, it makes matters worse. And then on top of that, when you have a prison system that is overrun with minorities, and then you have a mixture of majorities, and it creates a big hostile environment where some of these inmates even lose their life. So you can see why story number two is such a big story, why it would make it into the top 8 this week. There's even more headlines that tie into this. Many prisoners want to know what rights do they have inside of the outbreaks. Not only do they have to examine the justice system, but they have to also be accountable for the mistakes that they've made. Some of these prison inmates are innocent. Some of them haven't been proven guilty. Some of them have been proven guilty, but they haven't been given a fair shake. It goes on, and that's why you see the story like this, because these guys, they want a fair shake, guys and girls, women and men. It goes on, and they're not. They don't seem to be seeming that they don't feel that they're getting it with this coronavirus. Rikers Island inmates made some headlines in their demand for cleaning supplies amid the coronavirus outbreak. About 20% of police officers in New York are out sick, and a lot of trials are being delayed. For years, courts have tried to find ways to make the process faster and more efficient, but the coronavirus is slowing that down. Story number two, definitely a big story. It's even affecting I know everybody's heard about R. Kelly. He even was out, but they out of the prison system because of the coronavirus. Bill Crosby, the list goes on, and that's why story number two made it to the top 8 this week, because the justice system, police are exhausted, attorneys are exhausted. Big story that made it in this week. Story number 3, coronavirus is stretching industries thin. The whole industry. In the midst of madness, many healthcare workers are afraid of running out of supplies, medicines, and beds. This is another big developing story. That's why story number 3 made it in this week. And this is a story that homes in on every industry, aspect of the industry in the United States. Healthcare workers, they're also even afraid of losing their life and catching the disease while fighting this virus. Big story. There was even a story about a Navy medical ship that was sent to New York to assist, and this story made headlines. And then some crew members aboard had been tested positive for the coronavirus. So this is getting out of control. The virus is spreading, and it's really hitting the one of the the powerfulest nation on earth, the United States, very hard. Even though they're starting to see some progress, you can still see stories, developing stories about what this disease, the damage that it's doing. Many reports are surfacing about the exhaustion and uncertain mental health, the future of healthcare workers with their mental health. Some of them are starting to show signs of PTSD, which soldiers have to battle with. So you can see why story number 3. This is another story that will probably develop in the upcoming week. Army even may be postponing some of the basic training programs because of the coronavirus. Wisconsin farmers were forced to dump 25 gallons of fresh milk due to closures of restaurants and places that they deliver the milk to. And the last headline inside of story number 3, this developing stories and these big headlines. Hospitals have had to cancel surgeries of some of their patients. So story number 3, the coronavirus is stretching the industries thin. The healthcare industry, the big industry inside the United States, entertainment industry, all over the place. We're seeing a downturn, and let's hope that people remain optimistic and we get through this. And that's why story number 3 will probably be bumped up. This coronavirus does not seem to be going anywhere anytime soon. Story number 4, the coronavirus fight. There is some looking up inside this fight. It's bringing people together in strange and unique ways. So this story number 4 is a very, very good story in the midst of the madness. Here's some headlines to show you that people are grouping together in this fight to defeat this disease. California inmates and many Americans have been voluntarily making protective face masks. Some gear has been made by 3D printing, so we can't leave them out. And some of the gear has even been made by workers at nursery homes and just regular, average, everyday people, hardworking Americans. Amazon is set to donate 8,200 laptops to help Seattle students with their online learning. Some people are returning to the medical field to assist in the fight against the coronavirus. Many celebrities have been donating their time and money to help doctors and people in the fight to defeat the coronavirus. Miss England made some headlines. She plans to return to work as a doctor to assist in the coronavirus pandemic, the spread. She wants to help out. An unknown donor sent $150 in gift card to some households in an Iowa town. That's good news. People are starting to stick together. McDonald's has donated 1 million N95 masks to healthcare workers in Illinois. Shout out to McDonald's. People in Detroit have been giving free gas to medical workers working through coronavirus. It's good news. Reports by Vice says that laid off workers are coming together to help each other. Story number 4 is a good story, and these are the stories that we look for in times like these. Last but not least, Google is supplying California with free internet assistance to assist the education sector so they can have a free internet and free Wi-Fi and spots to learn. Story number 4 is what we look for in times like these. We'll be right back. You're the Mediator with me, Brian West. We'll be right back with the top 4 stories that made this week. Don't go anywhere. You're the Mediator with me, Brian West. Be right back. Welcome back. Let's get to the top 4 headlines and developing news stories that made it this week. Let's waste no time. Story number 5. The United States may need a damage recovery plan for the economy really fast. That includes present and future. Here's some headlines. Some business owners say it may be too late to go back to the way it was. They are very upset with the fact that they've had to shut down because of the economy. Some people say this should have been handled differently. There's a lot of voices in this fight. Layoffs are hitting almost every job sector in the United States. Money seems to be the main necessity as Congress tries to get money out to businesses through the stimulus packages, and Trump wants more, and some other politicians want more. But citizens, they're basically looking to Congress for just that, money. And many politicians are saying that they're doing the best they can, but the people are saying that they're not getting the money fast enough. Last week, U.S. reported 701,000 job losses and a record 6.6 Americans filed for unemployment. That's very scary, and that's why story number 5 is at number 5. As employers lose revenue, even doctors and nurses are losing money. So don't think that they're getting their money's worth at this battle of this disease. They're even losing money. This is a big problem, and it needs to be fixed very quick, because where there is no money, there is depression, and where there is depression, there is more disease, more chaos, and more frustration. That's why this story is heating up and developing and getting bigger. It probably will be at the top spot if the economy keeps taking a hit. Story number 6. New conspiracy stories are starting to circulate. That means people are starting to get very, very suspicious about this coronavirus. Here are some headlines. An article about Roseanne Barr, her view on this coronavirus has surfaced. The article says that Roseanne believes that the coronavirus is a ploy to get rid of her generation. This is just one of many new conspiracy stories relating to the coronavirus. There's even stories about how many people believe that China has released this disease on purpose. So you're starting to see these stories circulate. And when these stories start to circulate, there becomes lack of trust. And sometimes the lack of trust leads to rumors. And sometimes these rumors lead to assumptions. And these assumptions leads to conflict, unnecessary conflict. Here's another report that's circulating. A Chinese doctor is missing, according to reports that say that he was one of the first doctors that raised the alarm about the COVID-19, the coronavirus. So there's a lot of mystery surrounding in story number 6, just conspiracy stories that are starting to circulate on why this is happening, or who orchestrated, or if it was orchestrated, why, or did it really just come from Chinese culture's eating habits in bats. This is a big, big mystery. New reports are even circulating that China put the world in danger by lying about the coronavirus, according to U.S. intelligence agents. So story number 6 is why it's at number 6. It's because it's stirring up conversation about where this disease came from. Story number 7, and the top 2 stories that made it in this week. Domestic violence, crime, religion, and confusion seem to spike when things get bad, as usual, all the time. UN warns that global lockdowns result in an increase in domestic violence. Last year alone, women were the center of attention of either being killed, raped, or abused in some way. Men often get caught in the middle of these reports. I think there was a report last year that said 50,000 women were caught in the middle or either killed in domestic violence cases. Some of them were raped, kidnapped. So this is a big story. That's why it's at number 7. A missing woman in North Carolina. She was missing since March. She was found dead, and 3 people are now being charged with murder. Investigators say a man shot 5 people in lockdown for talking too loud. Bible books. The good book is in high demand, according to a report by Fox News. Apparently, people are finding their faith in these tough times. Bible books are selling out. That's always the case when people are facing the decision between life and death. Background checks are also increasing when it comes to guns. People are purchasing guns. That's another big story that continues to stay in the headlines, and it's at number 7 this week. People seem to be buying a lot of alcohol as well while they're in lockdown. That could be why there's a spike in domestic violence. They say when you start tipping all the drinks, that's when the truth comes out. A Pennsylvania man shoots his girlfriend and then himself, apparently because he lost his job in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. So you can see why story number 7 is at number 7. Be careful. Try to be peaceful with your mate, and try to when you hold hands with all of the people who are suffering too. It makes you feel much better because you are not alone. I have to encourage myself every day to stay in this fight, and I have to motivate myself to come in here every week to continue to do what I feel is right, and that's keeping you informed. So let's get to the top story that made it this week. Top story that made it this week. Story number 8. The top story that made it this week. Should there be more sympathy for public service? This is a top story. And the reason why this story made it to the top, because there are a lot of public service who have always been on the battlefield, and they are on the front lines in this fight. There are a lot of people who get away with some very, very harsh things, and we see people who are actually trying to make a difference have to suffer. Some of them have to face assassinations. This goes for the public office, every public office, healthcare workers. This is a job that you have to be very, very brave to do, and you have to be able to take a lot of hits. So have a lot of sympathy for the public workers. That's why this story made to the top. You see firefighters going into the Twin Towers, having to face diseases. You see people going to serve the country in the military, and a lot of these people just do not feel like they're given a fair shake. If I were not a part of that bunch, I served, I've done my time. That's what inspired this story, because I see postal workers out there, I see police officers, I see military people, I see nurses, I see doctors, I see ambulance workers, I see teachers. Everybody is in this fight. It's good to see everybody coming together. That's why story number 8 made it to the top this week. And just be very, very, very caring when it comes to public workers. We should be showing sympathy, and this may not be the time to blame everybody for these horrific acts that we're seeing of nature, but this may be time to show sympathy for public service. I want to thank you so much for tuning in this week. Whew. Mediation can be tough, but somebody's got to do it. I want to thank, as usual, to all the news outlets and journalists that keep us informed. You deserve all the credit. All the people on the front lines, you deserve all the credit. I am just the mediator. I want to thank you so much for tuning in this week. I am out of here. Please show some love to the public service. Listen to the professionals. And let's hope this we see a happy ending. Have a good week, everybody. Thank you for tuning to the Mediator with me, Brian West. Peace.
If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.
If you want to check out the stories that almost made it in or did make it in, go to our Twitter feed on our website. Check out everything. All of the sources are there. Go to the website. It's method8inc.com, method8inc.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, read something, or just sponsor a program.